Welcome to the New Warehouse Podcast, the podcast for those that are curious about what's possible inside their four walls. Before we get into this episode, let's hear a word from our sponsors that make this all possible. If you're thinking about voice picking, think EPG, the team behind Lydia Voice, the industry's #1 voice picking solution. Warehouses rely on diverse teams, but language barriers can slow everything down. Lydia Live Translation empowers warehouse staff to communicate naturally in over 40 languages in real time. No template training, no dialect detection headaches. See Lydia Live Translation in action at Modex this April in booth B11122. That's booth B11122, or visit epg.com to learn more. Are you drowning in pre-sales engineering? Struggling with resource allocation? Losing opportunities because it takes too long to respond? Quoting shouldn't take weeks. Every delay slows momentum and puts revenue at risk. Today's automation buyers expect instant answers, clear options, and numbers they trust. iAutomate helps system integrators and solution providers create a customer-centric digital buying journey and deliver data-driven concepts and budgets, instantly accelerating pipeline velocity, increasing win rates, and turning speed into revenue. That's sales automation. Learn more at iautomate.app. That's iautomate.app. Running a 3PL with LPG or diesel forklifts? Fuel volatility, emissions, noise, and downtime add up fast. Big Joe Forklifts offers a smarter path with lithium-ion trucks featuring integrated batteries and onboard charging. No fuel handling, no tank swaps, fewer interruptions. Their Pulse telematics platform gives leaders real-time diagnostics, energy insights, and downtime prevention. You can see it all at Modex in booth 9313. That's booth 9313. And a special bonus, if you say Kevin Lawton sent me, you'll get an exclusive swag package. Check them out, booth 9313. That's Big Joe Forklifts. There's no guessing when it comes to operations. We need the truth. Surgere provides that truth when it comes to your most critical systems and operations. Trusted to bring the truth with 99.9% data accuracy to some of the world's largest companies like Honda, Toyota, DHL, Whirlpool, Cat, Eli Lilly, and more. When you need truth in your warehouse operations, bring in Surgere. Get the truth at surgere.com. That's SURGERE.com. Is your fulfillment operation ready for the next surge in demand? Don't wait until productivity stalls to think about automation. Get proactive and talk to Ocado Intelligent Automation to find out when to start your automation journey, how smart software orchestration accelerates performance, and how AMRs like Chuck scale across sites and seasons. Learn how flexible deployment, ongoing support, and real scalability help you meet your customer expectations before peak hits. Head to OcadoIntelligentAutomation.com to start your warehouse automation journey and find them in booth B10119. That's B10119 at Modex. Thank you to our sponsors, and now let's get to the podcast.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast here at Manifest 2026, and I am in the Surgere booth next to Bill Wappler here, who is the CEO and founder of Surgere, right? And we're catching up with him to learn a little bit about what the latest is with Surgere, and we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the evolution of data and also just technology in the space as well, and what he's hearing from the floor. We're on the last day as we're recording this, so he's gotten almost all of his conversations in, I think. So we're going to see what insights he's gained from that. So Bill, it's great to see you again.
Hi, Kevin. Welcome to our house.
Definitely happy to be here. So for people maybe that are not familiar with Surgere, just give us kind of an overview of what it is you do.
Sure. And of all the technology that's here this year, we're the most simple concept, right?
Oh, okay.
All we do is capture incredibly accurate data and share it. So that's pretty simple stuff. Now, doing it can be pretty complex, but the outcomes are simple. People really need a lot of accurate data nowadays to exist in the modern supply chain. That's what we do. We provide the data.
All right. And then you capture that too through various devices, right?
We do. And this is an exciting time, I think, for everyone that participates in the industry like we do, and that there's a maturation effect that's taking place.
Right.
We've all been trying to capture data for a while.
Yeah.
What we're seeing is that the technology is improving.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning how to position itself in a lot more places in the supply chain so that the technology is not deficient and there's black holes. And there used to be a lot of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's not what we see now. What we see is that the technology is better.
Okay.
Scope is greater.
Yeah.
And usability and interconnectivity are better. So that any of these clients that we would talk about will go in and typically deploy up to 5 or 6 different data capture technologies to build a solution.
Yeah.
Well, now we're very confident in those technologies. And a lot of the times in the recent past, not quite there.
Yeah.
We are now.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And I think, it is such an interesting thing. We were talking briefly like before we started recording it, right? That just even seeing the technologies and how they've matured over the last, 5 years at these shows and things, I think is pretty incredible. And obviously, as you mentioned, that data is such a foundational core, right? To allow a lot of those technologies to function in the proper way and get the most out of them, right? So tell us a little bit about, maybe what is new with Surgere. What is the latest?
Well, if we drop back 2 squares, you can start to see what might become a problem or a challenge from deploying all of that technology, right?
Yeah.
One of the problems that has surfaced that we were really preparing for, but not quite realized. And that was, we're doing today about 15 billion transactions a month.
Oh, wow.
For our clients.
That's a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can imagine if you're working with that data, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
By the time you try to capture it, synthesize it, analyze it, use it, predict and look at trends, it's too late.
Right.
And so we were quite literally pulled into the agentic AI position because the data was relevant, but it was too big, too fast.
Right.
Right. And we had to overcome that. And really the creation of Sophia, our agentic AI persona, has solved that. And we're deploying it amongst a number of our large clients now. So that's a big step forward, because the worst thing you could do, I think, is to go through deploying all of that technology, creating all that data, but you can't use it.
Right.
So usability of data is really, I think, maybe the most played record that we have now with our clients.
Yeah.
The second is a little bit on the frontier yet. I have a thesis, and it's starting to be realized, actually.
Yeah.
And that is that the need for data is so strong that not only are our clients starting to demand the data, but all of their trading partners are forming communities and mesh networks around the data. So that way I know what you have and what you're doing and what you're sending.
Yeah.
Rather than just me knowing what came in and where it is. So that field of data is really getting large. So if you start there and you start thinking about the size of the community, right? And then you start thinking about the infrastructure that's necessary, it's sizable and it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So my thesis is, and what we've really been working at developing is, we need to take all of that infrastructure and make it mobile.
Yes. Yeah.
Right now, we're putting it in ceilings. We're putting it next to doors. We're putting it all over.
Okay.
And of course, because everybody needs that information. It's a natural artifact of needing data.
Yeah.
You have to go collect it. Well, as I study all of our clients and I study what that data looks like, it's, as you can imagine, it's going through peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
The valleys, then you're not getting a great return on that infrastructure because it's almost asleep.
Right.
So what we're doing to overcome then the cost of that is we're making our technology mobile.
Okay.
So it goes to where you need it.
Yeah.
And an example of that could be a door where you're going to unload a truck.
Sure. Yeah.
Today, there's technology all over the place to read what's coming off that truck.
Right.
In the future, and what we're actually, part of it's right over here to our left.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is I'm going to get a signal that truck is here and it's ready to unload. And the robots will position themselves to be able to accomplish the data capture. So they will literally come to the door when it's needed. They'll go to another door when it's needed there. That's, I think, all of our future in our industry is that the technology won't be fixed. It's going to be flexible and mobile.
Interesting. So essentially, you're putting these readers on a like an AMR, a mobile robot.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's understanding where it needs to be able to capture that. So, so what has the reception been to that here at the show?
Some of the clients that we have come to these conferences to look at what's new.
Right.
And not only what's new in general, but we have this booth for them so they can start to work through those concepts. And I can tell you every single one of them is interested in deploying flexible and mobile data gathering.
Yes.
Because they have to take it to their trading partners.
Right.
So if I'm Honda, which you guys know about, they have all their North American locations, but 94% of their suppliers. So the scale of that postulate is massive. Well, if it doesn't take long where I can dramatically impact then the cost reduction of the distribution of that technology.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do that.
Interesting. And the relationship there, I guess, is coming. So Honda essentially, right, is using it internally, but they want their suppliers to also use the same technology, right? Is what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And so tell us a little bit about, some of the it sounds like what you're hearing in the market in terms of challenges is, people want to be able to go to where the data needs to be captured instead of going to, a certain area or have to pass through a certain thing to be able to do that capture, right? So what do you think has kind of maybe propelled that shift a little bit? And what are people kind of telling you here this week that their biggest challenges are?
This is really interesting to me because part of what I enjoy most about coming to the conferences is also learning from other people in the industry, not just potential clients or clients.
Yeah.
It's really, what are we all seeing together? And one of the nice things about being as old as I am is I know a lot of folks in this building,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
And so the sharing of information gives everybody a lot of insight. And if you and I had this conversation 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and even as recent as last year, the challenge that everybody would be talking about is that the maturation of the technology isn't quite there,
Right.
right? And so we'd see robots,
Yeah.
but I couldn't take one home yet.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
We knew where the robots would be built for, where they would go. Again, we could build theories around what we wanted to do when it was time, but most of it was still operational theory.
Yeah.
And so that challenge is starting to decrease markedly. The technology that's here this year is quite operational,
Yeah.
and that's awesome.
Definitely.
So now the question is, all right, now what do I do? Right?
Yeah.
Well, the new challenge that we're hearing a lot is that we're in a fractured industry. Lots of technology, lots of people have very, if you will, point specific solutioning that's taking place with the technology and what they're doing.
Right.
It's really hard to get that to mesh and scale over a large enterprise. Takes a lot of people, takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of coming together of disparate companies. And that's the challenge that I'm hearing most often now is how do we build it?
Yeah.
And how do we govern it? And how do we make it all work as a single unit
Yeah.
when everybody is so darn independent?
Very true. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting because, you know, as the technology has grown, right, and matured, as you talked about, that means that, you know, we've also found technologies that are addressing problems that we didn't even necessarily know we could address in the past,
Absolutely.
right? And that adds to that complexity, and, you know, being able to tie that all together, I think is a great point, right? So how does the, you know, data tracking that you do and the data capture that you do help to kind of bring all those systems and technology to one?
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a great question. Because this isn't an easy one,
Yeah.
right? But it's kind of a quick one. So it changes our role because data capture, as I said before, is a simple concept, very difficult really to live at 99.9% accuracy.
Yeah.
That's tough stuff, but that's what everybody needs. And we were in some ways perpetuating the problem because we were always ready to form integration tools that we could share that data with.
Okay.
Right. But it would be, okay, share it with this system, share it with this system, share it with this system. And really, I think our new role has been a much higher level of organizing the distribution and leveraging of data. So, and I'll share an example if I may.
Definitely.
And I'm going to go back to Honda for just a minute because I really appreciate what they're doing.
Okay.
They're really smart folks. So they called us because one of the things that people will, in automotive particularly, because they use an awful lot of reusable containers and racks and things, if you don't have the data around where they all are, it's really hard to balance those out, make sure they're at the right place. And in the past, people would just buy a heck of a lot of them and just spread them around, right? But Honda was one of the really early ones to say, I want all of our suppliers to form a network so that I have all of that data, right? And then with that data, I'm going to be able to operate more efficiently. Yeah. Well, the step beyond that is where I find it's really cool. So they said, okay, if I have that and I can see with that level of vision through the new lens that I have, then what's the next step? Well, the next step was we started working with them to optimize their outbound trailers to redistribute those containers and racks.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, they can't ship without us now because we're looking at where everything is going and we're optimizing that trailer effect, right? And we'll withhold some, we'll put more on, we'll balance, but we're really looking at also lowering the cost of shipping by maximizing cube.
Yeah.
Right. The next thing, though, is they're going, wait a minute, if we can do that, why aren't we looking at our carbon footprint?
Sure.
So that we can help them, which is really the point I'm making, is that the distribution of data now is really starting to be leveraged by a lot of people in a large organization.
Yeah.
When we first started, it was, let's solve the loss mitigation issue, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's losing all these containers. Solve that. Okay. And we did that.
Yeah.
And then it's, well, wait a minute. Now we got to move them. Let's solve that. Let's solve the balancing. And it's even now drifting into sustainability.
Yeah.
So our job now has changed. You were talking about challenges early.
Yeah.
The challenge is, what do we do with data to make it most valuable? How do we leverage it? Well, that means that we have to be more than just using it for specific purposes. We have to be able to deploy it across a lot of different technologies.
Yeah.
That's a challenge, but that's where everybody's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really interesting to hear there and understand kind of what you're seeing in the market and obviously from talking to customers or potential customers here at Manifest, right? And I think, filling then those kind of gaps in data and stuff is so critical and important to bring all these technologies we see together, right? To be able to do that. So now if we talk about, we kind of talked about how the technology has matured, right? To the point it is now. But if you look forward over the next year of 2026 and into 2027, where do you think we're going to go from a technology perspective from here?
That's another great question, because there are a lot of people in this building right now that have their own thoughts about this.
Of course, yeah.
I'll just share mine.
We want to know yours,
From what I see, right?
Yeah.
And we look at that a lot because, we didn't start as a company that's doing what we did.
Yeah.
Right? We started with consulting, and then Whirlpool made us go into the software business, and Johnson Controls made us go into the IoT business.
Yeah.
And so we really have to acclimate to the demand of what's being required from technology in the future. So I'm always kind of trying to tune into that.
Yeah.
My belief, from what I'm talking to others about, is that one thing that everybody's looking for is to be able to deploy and use all these new technologies without so doggone much governance and effort. It's not like they're plug compatible.
Yeah.
Right? We're still very independent. And really, everybody that I'm talking to is talking about, how does this industry come together so that we form a single unit or a single solution for a client without them having to go through all the pain of governing all these independent companies that costs too much, takes too much time.
Yeah.
They don't get their solution easily. And that's really where I think we're going to go, is we're going to start finding ways to be a little bit more efficient at deployment.
Yeah.
Not the technology, right? Not whether it's mature and does what it's supposed to do, but how do we make this all come together to form a painting instead of just a lot of independent colors?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way you put that, because I think that makes so much sense. And, being able to bring all these parts together as we see the advancement in technology and, being able to fill those gaps and really make sure that, like you said, that the deployment is successful, right, in the first place. And it does what it's, what do you say it's going to do, right? Very important. So great to talk to you here, Bill, and really appreciate you having us come to your real big booth here this year. Love it. You guys have the massive presence here at Manifest this year. So if people want to learn more about Surgere, what's the best way to do that?
Well, of course, we all live on the web now, so the best way to come into our company is really through our website. Mm-hmm. You'll find actually that we're always ready to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And we're all part of that website.
Sure.
Anybody ever wants to chat, we're always looking forward to it. But I will pass with this comment, if I may.
Sure.
The reason I so appreciate sitting with you is that the conversation is much broader, deeper, and more intelligence based than a lot of them I sit in on.
Yeah.
When you visit our house,
okay.
I really appreciate the conversation, and I love to have and see you when we're here.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it from that perspective.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely. Thank you so much.
Kevin, it was great to see you.
Great to talk to you as well. And we will make sure we put all the information about Surgere at thenewwarehouse.com, as well as in the show notes here. So you can get in touch with Bill or his team and learn about what's next from a data and asset tracking perspective. So thanks again, Bill.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Enjoyed this episode? Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, and for more content from the New Warehouse, find us on LinkedIn and YouTube. Links to subscribe can be found in the show notes, and for everything The New Warehouse, head to thenewwarehouse.com.